Have you ever noticed the nicer you try to be, the less people seem to appreciate you? You answer immediately. You never say no. You do everything that is asked of you. And yet somehow you still seem invisible. Maybe being a good person is not the same as being respected. There's certain things that we're told to be when we're younger, and inherently they're not bad. You know, we're told to be quiet, we're told to be responsible, we're told to be respectful, we're told to not disappoint people, we're told to be helpful, be understanding, we're told to be all of these things, you know? They're not inherently bad at all. These are not bad things. But once these things become your identity, they become your self worth. Your self worth is not tied to what you bring to the people around you. And you stop asking yourself a dangerous question. You stop asking yourself, what do I actually want? Instead, you become an expert at asking, what does other people want from me? You think to start over analyzing people. You start looking into deep, start looking at like, oh, this person might need this from me, or this person might need this from me. And little by little, you start disappearing. And this is where the paradox part comes in. The strange part is people who say no, in comparison to people who say yes, have more respect. Not because saying no is impressive, but because communicating boundaries is something powerful. It, it communicates something to other people around you. I value my time. I value my energy. And most importantly, I value myself. You know, the person trying their hardest to earn everyone's approval often receives the least respect because approval earned through abandoning themselves never lasts. You know, it teaches people that you can negotiate your boundaries, that your needs can wait. You always make room, and you'll do this even when it costs you yourself. But the cost of always being good, it really happens at one point. Think of it as compound interest, something that builds up over time. You know, you answer the phone when you're exhausted over here. You cancel plans over here because someone might need something. You know, you apologize when you don't need to, and you say it's okay when it clearly isn't. You tell yourself you're keeping the peace. But in actuality, you're just avoiding conflict because you're afraid. You're afraid people won't like the real you. And eventually, you don't even know where your personality ends and where your people pleasing begins. There's a distinct difference, though, between a kind person and a people pleaser. The kind person gives because they choose to. The people pleaser gives out of fear. From the outside perspective, that looks the same, just two people giving. But when we look internally, two separate entities, two separate worlds. The kind person, the person who gives because they choose to, is giving from abundance because they know themselves. They have boundaries. So when they choose to give, it's genuinely because they want to. The other comes from fear. Fear because they might not be accepted. Fear because you want to be the apple of everyone's eye. And when fear becomes the reason you help people, it's no longer kindness, more survival. And there's something most people never notice. The people who truly love you don't need you to abandon yourself. They don't need you to please them all the time. They don't need you to abandon yourself to prove it. Healthy relationships don't require constant self-sacrifice. In my opinion, they require honesty, respect, and most importantly, communication. Those are my top three things, or I think just across the board. And that's required for a healthy relationship. But then on the opposite side, the people who become angry when you create healthy boundaries are often some people who benefited from you having none. They benefited from you not having any boundaries, just saying yes, just doing as you told, not being able to say no. And sometimes the guilt you feel from saying no isn't proof you're doing something wrong, proof of change. Becoming whole. Apologies for the quality in video drop, but I ran out of natural light. Anyways, becoming whole. The goal isn't to become selfish. That's another misunderstanding. The goal is to become yourself again, to be able to give without disappearing. Someone who can love deeply without abandoning themselves. Someone who can say yes because they know how to say no. Because kindness without boundaries eventually becomes resentment. And resentment has destroyed more relationships than honesty ever has. Hey, here's the truth. Some people won't like this new version of you. The version that speaks up. The version that protects their peace. And that's okay. Because not everyone was meant to stay. Sometimes the people who leave were only there because you were making yourself smaller. In conclusion, maybe the greatest act of kindness isn't what you offer others. The greatest act of kindness is what you offer to yourself. Finally, giving yourself the kindness you give to others, protecting your peace, honoring your time, and respecting your needs. Not because you're better than anyone, but because your life matters as well. And if this made you stop and think, maybe that's enough for today. And as always, we'll keep showing up until the world has no choice but to acknowledge us.